Welcome back to the Star Trek Critic, where each episode is graded like a school project, starting with 100 points and 1 point deducted for each error. Plot holes, set errors, stardate errors, outdated content, or anything else I want to make a smart comment about. Today's episode is The Lights of Zetar. The Enterprise drives through a space cloud of alien spirits, and Scotty gets the girl.
Yes!
This episode takes place right after Whom Gods Destroy and right before Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. They were really busy that week. Their destination, Memory Alpha, a website that will tell you all about the Star Trek universe. Going there is Lieutenant Myra Romaine to see just what kind of trash they've got on her, like if they know about her hookup with Scotty. The first point is lost for the captain's log talking down about Scotty's age, like he was too old to know what true love is like. Total age discrimination. And Kirk's not that much younger. He must have just watched Sleepless in Seattle.
It's easier to be killed by a terrorist than to find a husband after the
That
age
is
of 40.
absolutely untrue.
Right, honey.
Scotty is really laying it on thick. This is a polite way of saying Scotty wants to lay it in thick. This is a lame comment, isn't it? The next point is lost for this overhead shot not showing Chekhov. And I won't even get to the heart-throbbing comment. This is the problem with having office relationships. Your coworkers act stupider than usual around you. The next point is lost for this being Lieutenant Romaine's first assignment. A lieutenant has been an ensign for 1 or 2 years already, so she's had a few assignments already. Scotty is so excited he let out a big fart that interrupted the crewman next to him. Here come the lights of Zetar, a community of spirit beings that want to take over humanoid forms. Sulu is at the helm reading a very exciting book. If it's traveling at 10 times the speed of light, it would have passed them instantly, so minus 1 more point. And the claim that no natural phenomena can go faster than light speed has been disproved, so minus 1 more point. Lieutenant Romaine is thinking, oh, pretty lights. The film crew shines bright lights on them. Kirk gets his one chance to overact before he gets upstaged by the guest star. Do all the beings enter, or just one? Either way, her eye is gonna really hurt after this. Scotty's telling her to look in Spanish. Mira starts talking like she has really bad indigestion. Here's the first time these dingbats think she's just space sick. Didn't anyone else notice the lights? Scotty wants to go to sick bay so he can examine her as well. And Kirk says, no, Mr. Scott, you're an engineer, not a doctor. Spock says they all need to do a big drug party. Lieutenant Uhura, Chekhov, and Sulu all admit they were affected by the attack. More evidence that Lieutenant Romaine is just space sick. Lieutenant Romaine is thinking, they're just making me lay here like this so anyone coming through the door can look at my skirt. See? McCoy says she's just space happy. Has she never really been in space before? I find that hard to believe. Scotty wants to examine her a little bit more. And you know how that affects people. Dr. McCoy says, Scotty, get out, you're being a little shit. Scotty's worried that this could get him into some trouble. Dr. McCoy's got some seriously bad bedside manner right here, doesn't he? Lieutenant Romaine denies the secrets he found out in her exam. Scotty, on the other hand, sweet talks her. Nurse Chapel notices and says, Scotty, maybe you should be a doctor instead. But Scotty's thinking, no, I just want to get laid. This conversation shows either Starfleet is weird or the producers know nothing about military schools and rank. Starfleet uses Navy rank, so she has been an ensign for 1 or 2 years and would have been on a ship for some of that time. Also, if you go to Starfleet Academy, your summer camp would have been on a spaceship to see if you get space sickness, since being in space might not be for you. Look closely, the red alert sign is always there, just not lit, so minus 1 point. The lights of Zetar are approaching the Memory Alpha station quickly. Of course, Memory Alpha has no shields, so everyone can use it to make a total mess of the place. That was so smart. Now anyone can go there and rewrite history and education. Kirk is thinking, wonderful, that stupid mentality is the reason I have a job to clean up all these messes. Lieutenant Uhura tries to warn them but can't break through. Kirk should know by now, this is the last question you should ask Spock, since his answer will be no help at all. Kirk discovers Scotty is in sickbay, trying to look up Lieutenant Romaine's skirt. Kirk says, I'm relieved to hear your prognosis, Mr. Scott. Is the doctor there with you, or will I find him in engineering? And she's thinking, how many more of these upskirt shots do I have to do? And why didn't he check for this weird glare in my eye? And who's this guy? And there's an Andorian too. Who are they? This captain's log lets you know that some time has passed. The next point is lost for the captain and first officer beaming down together, and 1 point for no security guards. Dr. McCoy is afraid of transporting in the dark. And this is the end of the galaxy since Memory Alpha has been destroyed. That would have never happened if they had shields. Hey, this looks just like Lieutenant Romain's dream. Kirk is speaking Spanish again. He says, look, I find a survivor, but it looks like she ate some really bad food too. Scotty mentions she sounds just like Lieutenant Romain. He must have the hots for her too. This is proof your mother was right. If you make a face, it will stick like that forever. Kirk asks what did she die of, and McCoy says she died of all basic personality factors. At least Spock will be safe because he has no personality. The next point is lost for beaming down Lieutenant Mira Romain. She was just in sickbay. Scotty says, let's go find a place to fool around. Kirk asks, Lieutenant Romain, do you remember what I said during your memory lapse?
I still don't remember having one.
Was it a wild party, or is she having flashbacks? Now she's quoting Chekhov from Star Trek II.
We've got to get out of here now.
She says, the storm is coming back and you're all going to be killed. And they're all thinking, why should we listen to her? She's just a woman. And she's like, nobody listened to Wesley either. The lights of Zetar are returning to Memory Alpha, and the guys are like, oh, they're coming back. Thank you for telling us, Sulu. And Lieutenant Romain is like, you guys are a bunch of dumbasses. I just told you that, but you wouldn't listen to me because you think all the guest actresses are a bunch of ditzy blondes like you always dream about. Just for that, I'm going to wait here and watch you guys transport without me, just so you all freak out. Kirk loses a point for not looking around to see if everyone made it safely before he orders the ship to warp speed. Scotty saves the day. Of course he does, since she's his booty call for the night. Although she's a little frazzled because she thinks he is Sulu. And Romain gives the call to leave orbit. Look closely, the door is almost closed on Scotty and Romain. So is this shot of the Enterprise a commercial break, a shot of them leaving orbit, or a symbol of Scotty and Romain having sex? We will never know. Kirk wants to know what that thing is. Spock says it's not something that can live in space. Obviously, he never watched The Next Generation because that's all they ever found. Mira tries to tell Scotty what she saw, but Scotty is convinced she is just space happy and girls can't possibly be right. He's not getting laid tonight, is he? I haven't seen that scene of the future either, so don't know what she's talking about. Now she's going to tell Scotty all her secret fantasies.
Yes!
Sadly, everyone is convinced she is just space sick. More evidence you could still catch a cold in their generation, but it gets cured soon.
Have you got a cold?
A cold what?
It's a disease my mom says people used to get.
They found a cure. A goddamn cure!
Kirk is thinking, women can never sit in the captain's chair since the camera will always look right up their skirts. Uhura is thinking, Kirk, you're an asshole, and quit biting your nails. No matter which way the Enterprise goes, the lights of Zetar follow them, just like the Squire of Gothos. Kirk orders his favorite drink. While the guys are watching the pretty lights, Lieutenant Uhura is secretly hacking all their Twitter accounts, leaving posts that they are just a bunch of creepy old men. Spock makes the revelation that there are multiple beings, while Lieutenant Uhura is thinking, Spock, I figured that out hours ago. Just wait till you see your Twitter account on the news tonight. Sulu uses their preferred pronouns. Kirk tries to communicate first.
Aww.
Kirk politely explains that their presence is dangerous to the ship. Their response is... Scotty and Mira take this time to have sex in engineering. Why do they keep saying look in Spanish? Ironically, Mira looks. Kirk says, fire a warning shot. That was not a shot across the bow, that was right through it.
Careful, you idiot! I said across her nose, not up it!
It appears not everybody likes Neelix's cooking. Scotty tells the bridge the phasers are killing Myra. All the men on the crew are like, oh, she was right the whole time. We didn't know women could do that. And Lieutenant Uhura is like, you're all a bunch of assholes. How did he forget her name already? Now she's just the girl. Over in the conference room, Romain and Scotty arrive late after fooling around. This must be a tense situation because it looks like Spock, Kirk, and McCoy all let out some really good farts. She's totally lying here. Minus one more point for not having Nurse Chapel in there with the guys. It turns out Myra Romain is a Martian, and they're really looking for some dirt on her, aren't they? Oh look, they just discovered that she's smart and studious. Maybe they'll start listening to her now. She's like, it's about time they figured that out. Now they are looking into her brain. And they still call them tapes even after 300 years. Incredible. Her brainwaves match the Zetar light's brainwaves. Romaine says, Nurse Chapel knew this the entire time. Why didn't you ask her, you dumbasses? In reality, this meeting was a total waste of time. All three of them knew. But if the women were in charge, this would have been a really short show, and we would have never gotten Lieutenant Romaine laying on her back in sickbay for an upskirt shot, and we would have lost ratings. Oh wait, it already got canceled, didn't it? Look closely, Chekhov is missing. Scotty thinks he needs to speak for Lieutenant Romaine. Speaking for someone else like this is sexual harassment, so -1 point. Kirk asks Scotty why he didn't report these incidents before, and Scotty also says he didn't believe her either. Now Scotty's making his move in front of the other three. Kirk's like, whoa, hold on, Scotty, we're trying to do an interview here. She also saw Scotty dying. That's a vision of the future. The vision of Memory Alpha was in real time. Kirk says to go to Warp 8. Kirk tells her the one way to save them all is to give in and let them take over her body. And she's like, are you shitting me? -1 more point for her skirt being too short. The lights have penetrated the Enterprise. This means they all need to run around the ship frantically and totally unscrew that hatch as fast as you can. Scotty is holding Mira's hand, but Kirk wants to grope her too. Look at this. He stayed there till the very end.
He stayed at his post when the trainees ran.
Why would they think creatures that live in zero gravity would leave her body in an anti-gravity chamber? So -1 more point. This may be a cheap special effect, but it withstands the test of time. And we've all felt like that when we went to a bad restaurant. Scotty's thinking, I hope that's not from an STD, because I might get it too. Kirk tells her his favorite Who song. So the spirits of Zetar were once beings on a planet that was destroyed and are looking for new bodies to inhabit. You'd think they'd be freer out in space, but they would rather occupy a human. But they're dangerous. As far as they're concerned, the people of Memory Alpha died because they resisted them. McCoy doesn't know her name either, does he? And there it is, they aren't peaceful at all. Scotty tries putting her in the pressure chamber, but the Zetars push him away. That's too bad. Scotty thought he was going to get lucky in a zero-gravity machine. This looks vaguely familiar.
Scotty's dead. He had too much happiness.
1 more point lost because there's no security with deadly Zetars around taking over bodies. 1 more point lost for using the same dirty monitor over and over again. The Zetars are growing stronger.
And Leon's getting larger.
To attract a female audience, we get a shot of Spock's butt. Their theory is to put more pressure to squeeze them out, but that will probably kill her too. Kirk looks through to check in on her and thinks this would probably be better if she was naked. And it worked, but we never really find out why, do we? She's like, yay, now get me out of here. McCoy and Spock decrease the pressure to bring her back out of the chamber. Kirk and Scotty look at her like she's a puppy in a window. Now she has a craving for In-N-Out hamburgers. She's too far away from one of those. And Scotty just wants to join her in there, doesn't he? Both Spock and McCoy say she put up a good fight. And both Spock and McCoy forgot her name. They both refer to her as the girl. Now Kirk gets the engineer's diagnosis. The Enterprise heads back to Memory Alpha because Lieutenant Brain has a lot of work to do. She needs to clean up all those dead bodies by herself. And the last point is lost for leaving a newspaper laying on the floor. That totally violates the Green New Deal. Kirk tries to end the show with a joke, and the result is Star Trek gets canceled. So, who were the Lights of Zetar? Barbara Babcock was the Zetar's voice and makes her final appearance on Star Trek. You can see her again on Dallas, Hill Street Blues, and Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. John Winston makes his final appearance as Kyle until he returns in Star Trek II, and he has a part in the fan film Star Trek Phase 2. Unfortunately, Jan Shuton just left us a few months ago. Besides playing Lieutenant Romaine, she has been on tons of commercials, as well as The Outer Limits, The Andy Griffith Show, and Night Gallery. The Lights of Zetar, the episode where nobody listens to the guest star because she is a woman, gets a whopping score of 81%. Thanks for viewing. Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists, and most important of all, click that like button, the share button, and that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.
Of generation generated energy from memory alpha, Captain.
Still with us.